In her essay, This Little Ukulele Tells the Truth, Indie Pop and Kitsch Authenticity, Emily I. Dolan explores the notion of musical kitsch through the work of Stephen Merritt. Though kitsch has been traditionally associated with visual mediums, she poses a definition for its musical context. For example, music can manifest kitsch formally, such as instances where composers employ older forms as reference to the past. Within popular music especially, kitsch can be evoked not just through use of decontextualized forms, but also through vocal timbre, instrumentation, arrangement, and production values. To put it simply, musical kitsch might be described as something that sounds cheesy. This type of music is typically assumed to lack authenticity and be in poor taste. Because it relies on easy cultural signifiers and common tropes, some people think that all kitsch music is bad and more a symptom of consumerist culture on the decline. Dolan argues against this assumption, saying that kitsch doesn't necessarily equal bad. It simply defines art that uses common tropes outside of their original context. Stephen Merritt's band The Magnetic Fields has long embraced this aesthetic, frequently referencing antiquated pop music and common tropes, but using those as springboards for authenticity and often melancholy. By openly embracing kitsch, indie music declares that authenticity is personal. As we wallow in the tender melodies of Merritt's songs, we can be aware that we are wallowing in kitsch, but a kind of kitsch we may call our own. I think this is a beautiful sentiment. It's easy to write off kitsch as being inauthentic, but I think doing so would ignore the impact it has on our culture. Some might call a song cheesy to say that it employs tired tropes, but I wouldn't view those tropes in a negative way. Instead, I think it's wonderful that there are lyrics or types of expression that are so universal that almost anyone can relate to them. At the same time, the universality doesn't make said types of expression not subjective. Even a lyric like "I miss you" will evoke different memories in different people depending on their personal experiences, even if they share the same feeling of missing someone. In my video on the musical aesthetic of Tomorrowland, I spoke a bit about how the idea of music from the future actually required placing antiquated musical ideas in a new context. This is why the supposedly mood-controlling music from the Muzak Corporation played so well into the land's original aesthetic. It was disconnected from its original context and recontextualized within something unfamiliar, allowing the resulting atmosphere to feel both familiar and unfamiliar. I believe this tension is at the center of most of Tomorrowland's music. My favorite piece in any version of Tomorrowland has nothing to do with a ride or attraction, but actually a quick service restaurant. I want to talk about this song because if you've ever gone to Walt Disney World, it's very likely that you've passed by it without even knowing it was there. Let's talk about Bright Little Star by Tomorrowland's resident singer-songwriter, Sonny Eclipse.
To be free, to be on the move, to go for a hike or whatever you like to do. To all there is to be done. It's fun, it's fun, it's fun. To be free, fun to be free.
When the Magic Kingdom opened to the public on October 1st, 1971, Tomorrowland opened with two main restaurants in its vicinity, the Plaza Pavilion and the Tomorrowland Terrace. Despite the cast members and the theme of the former restaurant following the general atmosphere of Tomorrowland, the menu referenced a variety of the park's different lands due to its proximity to the main hub. It was technically located in Tomorrowland, but the overall theme of the restaurant was more ambiguous. On the other hand, the Tomorrowland Terrace was the main restaurant for the land, residing on the border where Tomorrowland met Fantasyland. One of the unique aspects of music at the Tomorrowland Terrace was that it featured performances from Michael Iceberg, an American musician who performed a variety of pop rock music, classical greats, and movie scores. The unifying factor of his repertoire was that all of the pieces utilized his impressive synthesizer rig that appeared to be incredibly advanced for the time. The show was enhanced by lights, a fog machine, and a mirror that let the audience watch him play the synthesizers. Iceberg performed at both Walt Disney World and Disneyland in the mid-1970s to late 1980s. In the early 90s, though, Magic Kingdom's Tomorrowland was being considered for an update due to the fact that the rapidly changing world would continually make the land appear outdated. Instead of adjusting to contemporary predictions of the future, the new Tomorrowland project would rely on science fiction of the early 1900s to create a unique, timeless depiction of a futuristic environment. This also led to more pop culture jokes being placed in the land. A particular favorite of mine is this sign clearly referencing Leonard Bernstein. To fit with the new theme, the original Tomorrowland Terrace would be changed to Cosmic Ray's Starlight Cafe, while the aforementioned Plaza Pavilion would eventually inherit the name Tomorrowland Terrace after a few name changes. However, the purpose of this video is to focus on Cosmic Rays. After Michael Iceberg left Disney, it was decided that there would still be live entertainment in the restaurant, but it would be performed by an audio animatronic. This was when they introduced Sonny Eclipse, an intergalactic singer-songwriter who has a recurring gig at Cosmic Rays and is still at the park to this day. He was actually made from the same mold as another animatronic, specifically Officer ZZZZYXXX, a now defunct character from the exit corridor of Tokyo Disneyland Star Tours. In the Disney canon, these two characters are cousins. In 1994, the concept of an audio animatronic singing to parkgoers wasn't in any way a new concept, but Sonny Eclipse had a few things going for him that had not been seen before. He was actually a restaurant entertainer, something that is almost a fulfillment of the original Tiki Room concept. He also had a surprisingly detailed backstory. The official story is that he's from the planet Zork, specifically the city of Unork, where he avoided methane clouds on the surface of the planet by living underground. He became involved with the music industry via the Unork scene and started touring around the galaxy. He travels with invisible space angels who have been accompanying his shows ever since he lost his original singers at a gig on Mars, eventually leading him to work for Cosmic Rays at their first ever Earth location. I think Sonny is incredibly charming, and it's clear that the Imagineers had fun creating this character and his associated backstory. These types of details are what make Disney theming so interesting to me. Sonny Eclipse's show is very similar to a traditional dinner entertainment situation. He makes jokes, does banter in between songs, and explains the stories behind his work. There are 8 songs in his set, with the whole thing running about 25 minutes in total. The songs have a variety of themes, such as introducing himself, how gravity always gets him down, how he met his invisible space angel backup singers, his hometown of Unork, and there's even a song about what food you can get at the restaurant. The songs were written by George Wilkins and Kevin Rafferty, and are all incredibly clever in their own right. They were also a perfect fit for the singer-songwriter Cal David, who voices Sonny with the voice and vigor of a crooner. The first thing that comes to mind when I hear his voice is Elvis Costello, but you can also just replace that association with any other type of canonical singer-songwriter or jazz singer. The music of Sonny Eclipse also returns to what I was talking about in the beginning of this video regarding kitsch. The aesthetic of a jazz singer from New York City doesn't require much explaining to audiences, but it feels novel when appropriated into a space alien's repertoire. By constantly mixing common tropes with ideas of futurism, the repertoire of Sonny Eclipse occupies a uniquely kitsch territory. That brings us to the song that made me want to make this video in the first place, Bright Little Star. The song itself is a touching tribute to Sonny's estranged wife, talking about how much he misses her while they're apart. The main poetic device in the song is the titular star, with Sonny pondering the implications of him and his wife looking at the star at the same time and thinking about each other. For a show that's very comical and otherwise lighthearted, this feels like a surprisingly sincere turn. Since I first heard this song, it's become one of my favorite Disney park songs of all time. I think it's a very touching tribute to love that can fit in a variety of different contexts. But why? Well, like I said at the beginning of this video, kitsch doesn't have to mean inauthentic. I think the setup of a song like Bright Little Star is even misleading. Like, I certainly didn't expect a beautiful melody to come out of a kitschy song sung by an alien about his six-eyed wife, but that's what happened, and I like it that way. There's not much music theory or context as to why I love this song so much. All I know is that whenever I hear Bright Little Star, I think about many things. I think about how I haven't seen my husband in months, I think about how intimidating the world feels right now, but above all, I think about how a little sincerity can go a long way. I hope you're all staying safe out there during this tumultuous time. I hope this song is just as comforting for you as it is for me. And when Disney World opens again and it's safe to travel, I hope you're able to grab a seat at Cosmic Rays and listen to the music of Sonny Eclipse. A bright little star, though I'm light years away from her now, I can't help but to feel that somehow we're both wishing on you. I imagine your light in her eyes as she gazes up into the skies. At this moment does she realize you are in my eyes too. A bright little star, is she wishing the same wish as me? That somewhere out in space there may be a nice planet for two, where someday we'll be all alone in our own galaxy, dancing under a star canopy, and our favorite is you. Someday, somewhere, I will find her in a universe up above. Tell her, little star, I'll surround her with all my love. Good night, little star, watch and keep her till we meet again, in the glow of a love without end, shining brightly like you do. And every night, as we gaze at your loving starlight, we will know that when wishes are right, they will always come true.